Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and you can see I have a bit of a mess going on my reading table. And that is because I'm in the middle of edging two decks. Don't ask me how that happened to happen. And don't you love this? This is, I think, a little cheese knife, but it looks like a butcher knife, and it makes me smile because it's on my reading table, or in my little reading table compartment to cut things open. And what I was cutting open was a set of Winsor & Newton metallic markers. It has 6 colors. It has silver, purple metallic, blue metallic, a green metallic, a gold metallic, and a red gold, which is kind of a coppery color metallic. So I got all 6 of these for $16, I believe, on Amazon, which was actually quite a good deal. So the 2 decks that I am currently edging are, this one is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. And you can see, here's undone, you can see that quite a dark with kind of gold-ish colors on the borders inside, although they're quite different, like a dark brown border, but they're not really consistent. Some are cooler and some are warmer. It's a $10 deck. I don't expect all that much. But then the back is a little bit of a different color as well. It's kind of a grayish brown. So I really wasn't sure what color, but then you have this very white. You can see doesn't look finished to somebody who likes their edges done. Other people be perfectly happy with it, but that to me is just really gorgeous back, dark, everything is colored, and then we have the white just cut sides. It just doesn't work for me. So you can see I used the red gold, and it looks really great. I'm really happy with how the red gold turned out. It's a little bit coppery, more of a coppery tone than the straight one, and you can see also the difference here, on how that looks versus just having the white on the side. So I'm really happy with that. That's just taking 1 coat, and so I'm just using the thicker, and this does not have a chisel like the Winsor & Newton normally does, which I wish was the case, but I'm just sliding it along. Cardstock takes, the ink differently depending on the cardstock. This is pretty thick and a little bit cardboardy cardstock, and so it's taking the ink really well, and then it's just, bam, it's done, and I just go on to the next one. I always got to make sure you get your corners, because sometimes you end up with little white corners. And so this one is a pretty quick and easy, and the only reason I have 2 going right now is because, and this dries quite fast, but the only reason I have 2 going is I really wanted to see what this red gold looked like before I decided which one I was going to use for my, oops, I did something wrong here, Sforza. Okay, 6. Let's put those. I'm in the midst of the 6 of the swords at the moment. And so, yeah, it's quite simple. I'm just going around one time, going around, and then it's done. It does put a really thin, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, a very thin kind of coppery border at trim on the edge, just really thin. That doesn't bother me. I could, because these are so glossy, wipe them off right away perhaps, but I don't mind that. You really can't see it when you're looking at it, and because of this internal little cut like border here, it actually looks like it's supposed to be that way, so I don't really worry about that. That is going to usually happen whichever side is facing you when you're doing it is going to get that thin border. So because the face of the card is facing my hand, that's usually the hand, especially with the chisel tip. That's usually the side that's going to get that thin border, which is nice. A lot of times when I'm doing a black border, I actually want that to happen, and so knowing to face that forward is a tip from Otzi, my friend Otzi, who is the trimming queen. So there you go. That's what I'm working on, and again, I just started this because, well, we'll just finish it to the aces, right? Because I wanted to see this red gold before I decided what color I wanted to do for my Sforza, and I quickly realized this was like a very coppery tone and quite dark, and not the color that I would want with my Sforza. And one of the ways that I test that, let me just quickly finish that. So that's the aces. One of the ways that I will test that is I will take, if I have another deck, and it's not a precise science because, like I said, cardstock makes a difference, but I'll kind of take it and just stack one card on top of it and see, like, okay, no, that's way too dark for the card itself, for the gold that's already on that card. So I knew right away that was not going to be right, but it's actually perfect for this particular deck. So that is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean that I'm working on. This one is the Sforza, Visconti Sforza. It's also called the Golden Tarot, but it is the Visconti Sforza by Mary Packard. Now, technically, this is slightly lighter than the color that is on the front and the back, but it really, in light and daylight, it looks pretty good. Now, I'm going over this twice, and I'll show you that in the middle. But I really like the way that it looks. Again, when you have this really rich colored fronts, really rich colored backs with the gold, and then you have just these plain white backs. To me, that just doesn't look finished. To me. Again, it's everybody's personal taste. So having that gold on the side really is lovely. Again, not a perfect match, and this is 2 coats, but it looks really good in person. It looks a lot better than the camera I've seen picking it up, so I'm really happy with it. So you can see, again, that's the gold and that's the white, obviously, and it just finishes it off in a really gorgeous way. So I'm really thrilled with how that's turning out. I'm doing a little bit more with the Sforza. I'm just doing it on the people cards. I don't know if you can see. This one doesn't have much. Just little touches of the gold, like on the neckline and the waist and in the crown. I didn't on the Fool because he's completely earthy and ragged. A little bits in the crown, a little bit on the wand itself. Same thing here, a little bit up in the cross. A little bit on the braided thing. I gilded the edges of her books, little dots on the crown, around the edge of the World card. Just right, he had a little gold necklace, so I just kind of, that's all I've really done in the sun. You know, the wands here I have done, and plus little accents on the crown and the top of here. Just little bits in the ace here. So I'm not going overboard with it, just on the coins itself and the wand. Here, you can see it a little bit on the cups and on the wrist. So just little touches, because this deck is actually gilded. You know, if you look at when it's an actual reproduction. I am eventually going to do some things to the minors, but I'm doing the court, or the colored ones yet. Here I did her rope, as well as the edge of the moon, little bits on the angel wings and the crown. So again, I'm not going overboard. I'm just, and the Hanged Man, I haven't done anything on yet. I'll probably do a little bit on the rope just to add something. So for that aspect, I am doing, there's a small, oops, that's the wrong color. I'm doing the small tip. There's a really small tip. Whoops. There's a tiny tip on the end of these markers, and so I'm using that again just to kind of dot in some accents. Like I said, he doesn't really have, like I could go in, I'm just going to go in and do his buttons. Like that. And maybe I'll write around his collar. he really doesn't have too much going on, but I want to at least have a little bit of something. So that's what I'm doing, just to add some accents of gold because the original is gilded. And so that is what I'm doing with these two decks. Again, whoa, no, my poor hematite. That's not the right word. But so you can see two very different colors of gold and then the white in the middle. It just finishes them off, and especially really sumptuous decks like this, it's just like, oh, it's just one of those beautiful necessities. And it does allow you to sit there and spend time again with each of the cards, which is very relaxing. But let me finish this. So this one, because the cardstock is different, it's actually not picking it up quite so much. And so on this one, I'm going back the other way, turning, kind of going down and back up, and down and back up, and down and back up, right? So I'm just kind of doubling it up. I already did that one. I'm just doubling that up so that it takes the gold a little bit more. It just depends on the cardstock. You really do have to pay attention to the cardstock and how it might take the gilding. So I don't think I have this. I don't trim them all. I know people think that I do, but like this, it's close enough. It doesn't bother me. This is pretty close. It's not a stark white, and it's close to the front. So I really, this one I'm not tempted really to do anything with. So I don't do them all, just when there's a very, oops, and my WhatsApp is going crazy. So yeah, so I just wanted to be able to show you this is how I go about trimming, and this is might be why I'm going about trimming. And Bart is sending me pictures of, I think, the Celtic, which is on my list because it actually has pips. And so, oh yes, let's see, I don't think you're going to be able to see. He's sending me pictures of the miners so I can see them, which these are gorgeous. This is on my list. He had put up that he really liked this deck, but that it was, you know, except for that it had the pip cards. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I was just looking at that because it has the pip cards. Different people are looking for different things. So anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. This is just a little quick video. People often ask me, you know, why I trim things, how I trim things. So these are the two that are on the table right now, and sort of why I'm doing it, what color I'm doing it with, how I'm doing it. And this one, of course, is, like I said, a little bit different because it's the first time I've ever added onto the faces of the cards, other than writing like the name of the card if I completely trimmed like with the Marielle. This one I don't like so much. You can often take an alcohol swab and remove. I haven't tried it with this ink yet, but you can do that sometimes, which I may do with that one, but I'm not worrying about it right this very minute. So there you have it. Okay, I have some bit of gold on my fingers. But other than that, it is all set. I really like how this turned out. It's like, again, like a coppery gold, and I think it really looks good with this particular deck. So I'm quite happy with how that turned out. And then this one, which I am not going to shuffle much here because I really want that to settle on the tops. That's more of a standard gold. You can see little bits only on the face cards, and only, like you can see, I put some on her dress. Possibly you can see, I don't know, but just little accents there of gold on the face cards, the majors as well as the quartz and the aces. So there we have it. Again, that is using the Winsor Newton metallic marker. For the Visconti Sforza, I used the gold, and for the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean, I used the red gold. And there we go. So thank you for taking a quick look at how I might go about edging a deck, why I might go about edging a deck, and I hope that you all enjoy this and have a wonderful day.